This is Make It Mentionable. I'm Alyssa Patness, and this is the show about being human in a world that encourages us to be robots. I invite you to join me as we journey through the mess, the magic, and the mania in between, because what we can talk about, we can manage. This honest conversation extravaganza includes free-flowing conversations and high doses of vulnerability to remind you that you aren't alone. No topic is off limits, and episodes are designed to leave you smarter, aka more self-aware than when you came. I am so glad you're here. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Make It Mentionable. This is a fun, special episode because my birthday is tomorrow. I turn 31, and this is the 31st episode of Make It Mentionable. So I brought Geoff back. He's on the couch with me this week, and I have no idea exactly what he's going to ask me, but this episode is around learning more about my first 31 years. And also, he sent me a poem last week about growing young. Like, we're always talking about growing up and focusing on growing older. And what if actually kids hold so much wisdom and we should grow down. So we pulled some questions. I don't know exactly what's in store. I don't know what you have up your sleeve to ask me. So this is off the cuff, and you get my raw reactions to whatever Geoff has decided to pull out of thin air.
Yes, and I have my coffee cup because if I were to ever have a talk show and be the host and ask questions, I would have coffee.
Okay.
It's just works. Something I notice all the hosts have.
It's not just Starbucks advertising.
It's great. Well, I do love Starbucks.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, so we're gonna do a few different sections, and we're gonna start off with questions that you can ask kids.
Like on their birthdays?
Yeah.
Okay.
Questions that you might ask a kid on their birthday.
Okay.
But we're gonna ask you.
Okay.
So the first question I have is, what name would you have given yourself if you got to choose your name?
This is weird because I don't always resonate with my name, which we've talked about, which is strange. I love my name, but I think when I was making up characters as a kid, like when I would make up videos and like home stories, because my parents got me a video camera, and I would always have the last name Greenfield, which you don't really get to choose, but my characters always had the last name Greenfield. And I feel like the first name, the character I invented first was Avery, and I just love that name. So it would probably be Avery.
What is that name? Like, who is that alter ego?
She's evolved over the years, so I don't know exactly right now, but she, like, when I wanted to go out and just like be a semi-different version of myself, she's the name I would use, and I would just tell people my name was Avery.
Okay, Avery.
Yes.
Great. Moving on.
Okay.
What is your favorite piece of clothing?
My favorite piece of clothing. I feel like most people ask what your favorite piece of jewelry is. So what my favorite piece of clothing, well, I like long sleeve shirts, but I like long sleeve shirts with shorts. That's like the pinnacle of wear anything weather.
Type of clothing.
Oh,
Single
like one piece.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I have no idea. What is my favorite piece of clothing? I don't know. I think it's probably a red sweatshirt that I have right now. That's like, it says Wild Heart, and it's like a cheetah shaped as a heart. It's like, you know that picture of like the old woman and the young woman, like the illusion.
You can see
it
two
like
different things.
Does that on the sweatshirt. I really like that sweatshirt.
Okay, you don't wear that often.
I don't know, but I like it. It's my favorite.
Okay. What one chore do you not like to do?
I freaking hate doing laundry. I despise it. I really hate it. I especially hate putting it away. So Geoff does the laundry, but he doesn't do the part that I actually hate the most, which is putting it away, because he hates my hangers. They're like the velvet kind, which makes a lot of sense because tank tops don't fall off, but he won't hang up the clothes because he hates the hangers.
Yes, it makes it 4 times as hard. If you had wooden hangers, I would hang up your clothes.
Okay.
Or at least
I don't mind cleaning toilets. I don't mind. I love cooking, but me and laundry are not friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's it for the kids' questions. Now we're going to move on to tweens. Tween questions. Okay. What are 3 things you love about yourself? What a great question to ask a tween, by the way.
That is a great question to ask a tween, like as they're in that kind of uncertain age and comparing themselves and like more aware of how people view them. I think that's a great question.
It's easier for you to answer now than if you were 13. Yeah.
Or 12. Yeah. What do I love about myself? Well, superficial things. I always have loved my eyes, but that relates to something deeper. Like I have the most expressive face on the planet, except for maybe my mother, who has an even more expressive face than I do. So I love my eyes. I like that they're green, but I also like there's such like a portal into my soul. Sometimes I feel like if someone's staring me in the eyes, I'm like, you can see everything about me right now, because they're just so telling, which I think is a strength. So I like that. And I like being an expressive person. What else do I love about myself? I love that I'm an explorer. Like I love that I like novelty and I'm willing to do new things. Like when I ate a cricket in Mexico and you wouldn't.
Gross.
So I like that. I like to explore, which really overlaps with curiosity, which I love about myself.
And what do you love about those things? What does it mean if you're curious or you're willing to explore and try new things?
I just think that curiosity, I've come to know this. Curiosity just leads to connection in a way that judgment never will. And so I found it very beneficial over the years to just be a curious person and recognize, that everyone has their own version of the world going on. And usually conversation gets better if you remember that and can get curious about someone else. And likewise, like getting curious about yourself, it's allowed me to reclaim a lot of self-agency over the years. So that's 2 things: my eyes, curiosity, and exploration. What is the 3rd thing I love about me? What do I love? What's coming to me at the moment, I'm not sure this is like insanely profound or anything, but I've always loved like my cleverness with words. So like I don't talk during movies as much, but if we're watching a talk show and the host is engaging in conversation with someone else, like I want to be part of that conversation. And so I narrate and talk to the TV a lot during that. And
it's quite entertaining.
I like that about myself. I think I maybe what I actually love about myself is that I'm able to make myself laugh. Like I can entertain myself by making myself laugh, which I think is a skill.
Yes, you're very witty and clever. Okay. What skill would you like to master over the next year?
What skill would I like to master? Well, I'm learning how to play the piano, so I would like to
master.
Well, master is a hard word. I want to get better at that. Master. What skill do I want to master? I don't know. I have a weird relationship with mastery. You know this because I'm such a generalist and I find immense value from that. So for me, mastery is like, if it's needing to know every single thing about it to be considered a master, I don't generally operate like that.
So none. Maybe the answer is none.
Master. There are things I want to do more consistently, which I think leads to mastery. But what is the stamp of mastery anyway?
10,000 hours.
Yeah, I know that's a thing. I'm not sure I believe that.
No, I'm not sure I believe that either, right? And are we ever a master of anything, or are we constantly...
I mean, I'm constantly working to evolve my craft, like evolving the craft of writing, evolving the craft of interviewing people, evolving the craft of creating content in a quicker fashion instead of hoarding it. Those things I'm all looking to evolve, and playing piano.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I don't think your goal is to master a skill. It's to get better at a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, there is depth. There's power in going deep in something. Like, and I care deeply about being, excellent at any craft that I take on. I just don't have as much. I don't resonate with the word master as much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to let you fill in a blank here.
Okay.
What talent do you have in common with blank? And blank is someone that you really care about. Probably, maybe someone in your family. It could be your mom, dad, brother, grandparent. It could be anybody, but pick someone very close to you and tell me what talent you have in common with that person.
What talent?
Talent.
What constitutes a talent?
Something you're good at that most people aren't as good at. Something you're really good at.
What talent do I have in common?
For example, you have singing talent in common with your brother.
Okay, I was going to bring that one up.
You can use that one, or you can pick a different one.
Oh, goodness. When I was a kid, I was singing in the car, and my brother was just being annoying, and he started singing, and I don't have many regrets in life. I generally don't have regrets, but I do regret saying this to him. He was singing, and I told him to stop, or that he was a bad singer, which is like seriously the most asshole thing I could have done. And then he stopped singing as much, and I've tried to make it up to him ever since then. And he just still doesn't sing as much, which I'm hoping is his own personal decision at this point, and not because I destroyed his confidence when he was 8. Yeah, I still feel bad about that.
Newsflash, it was still his own personal decision when he was 8. Yes. Now, you influenced that, you feel bad about it, but he made a choice. And he's young. He may choose someday to embrace that again. It's
true. And, I also told him that he had chicken legs, which he should thank me for now, because now he doesn't have chicken legs and he doesn't skip leg day. So let's see. Talents. Yeah, I like to sing. I have that in common with both my dad and my brother.
What talent do you have in common with your mother?
Talent. Well, my mom and I both love to dance.
And you're both really good at it.
Yeah. So that's a talent I have in common with them. Yeah. Okay.
What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. I think my biggest fear is mostly, a lot of people talk about, the fear of death. I think my biggest fear is not my own death. I'm not really that doesn't bother me as much. It's people who are close to me's death, which is pretty morbid. But I think that's probably my biggest fear. Most things I can handle or come up with some perspective where it loosens the fear somewhat. But when I think about people close to me dying, it's just...
Because what does that mean to you? What's underneath that?
What is underneath that? I'm not sure that I've quite figured out exactly what's underneath that. I think I've experienced people close to me dying, and so I know what that feels like to an extent. And then when I think of it, I don't know.
So is it the pain of that you need to go through, or is it where it leaves you
No,
or maybe you don't know.
I don't know that I'm entirely sure. It's something that I am working to explore in different ways, because I think that it's, I don't think it's stifling. That's a dramatic word, but I do think it influences things at times. So I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what is under that in this now turned couch therapy session.
Yes. Stay tuned for a future version of this podcast on a future birthday in which we explore that further, and you've figured it all out by then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Now, all right, that was tweens. Okay. Now we're graduating to teens. Okay. Questions you can ask your teen. Where in the world would you like to live once you're older?
I don't like questions like this where it's puts all of the emphasis on the future. I live where I want to live now, and that might change. I don't have anywhere where I'm oh, I wish I was here instead.
You're where you want to be right now.
Yeah.
Where might you where could you see yourself living in the future, if it not in Denver, Colorado?
Not California. Which this follows my process, Sometimes it's hard to know what you want right away. So you have to start with what you don't want. Mm-hmm. So I know for a fact I do not want to live in California. Really the only place I could see myself on the East Coast is potentially New York, but their winters are arguably worse than here. I think the actual answer is not about abandoning Colorado, but what I could see is having two places so that I can alternate between the seasons, because it is April and I am still wearing a sweater, and I am from Arizona and I don't understand this.
She thinks it should be summertime in April. And
yes. April is summer in Arizona.
Yeah, it's not summer.
I know, I understand that. So my answer to the question would be having someplace where I can go and be in my own space, not constantly on the move, for an extended period of time, January till apparently April. Mm-hmm. Will be great. Somewhere.
Yeah, we're gonna go stay on a beach for many weeks in a row.
Yes, great.
Yes. And when the scary people take over the world, we're going to have to go to an island.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But I have more hope than that. So.
Okay. What excites you about being older?
I like getting older. Some people don't like it, or they freak out. They're like, what's the difference between 30 and 31? We had dinner with a friend recently, and they were like, oh, I turned 31. And then I started just feeling it more, feeling old. And there are definitely trends that I now feel old around, because I'm I have no idea what this is about. But in general, I like getting old. Because it's a sign that you're living, and that's exciting to me. And I I think in general, as you get older, you just give less fucks about what other people think, and that's great. So yeah, there
are benefits to getting older. But I call you a curious bird, because you shock me in some ways, or you're interesting and different than a lot of people. And I think it's really rare for a female in this society to view aging and moving into your 30s and getting older as something very positive, and not feeling the pressure of society, which values youth, especially in females, and feeling this oh my God, I'm getting older. What a bad thing. You don't just give lip service to that. You don't view it as a bad thing. You're not trying to hang on to your 20s, and you are looking at the future in a positive way. I think it's amazing. It's really, I look at it, I'm just wow, that's cool. And how do you avoid the pressures of society, which says youth, youth, youth?
Well, I think that comes down to knowing your worth, and there's nothing I can do aside from injecting myself with Botox, or using wrinkle cream every night, which there are things I do to take care of my skin, not Botox. I stole your skincare routine and use excellent vitamin C serum. But there's nothing I can do about it. I can't stay young
Right. But that alone does not, like, everyone knows that.
Right.
And the people that are trying to hang on to their youth and viewing getting older as this thing to avoid, and they also know, like, there's nothing I can do, but that doesn't make them embrace it the way you do.
Yeah, I think there's some really beautiful older women that I've seen, like, and beautiful, not in the way that we traditionally define, like a young woman, but I think I've seen examples of beautiful older women. And I think I always pay attention to that when we're out and I see one and I like store it as a catalog. I was like, oh, I see features of myself in that. I could see myself looking like that when I'm older, and I'm okay with that picture.
Right. And you're also doing things to take care of yourself and be healthy.
Yeah.
And not fall apart.
Yeah.
In ways that, and the assumptive, like, oh, we get weaker and older and that's all bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. What is the one thing you wish you could change about society? I thought you'd like this one.
This is a question that people ask teens. That's a big question.
What a great question to ask a teen, right? Like
a teenage perspective on this. Yeah.
On that note, by the way, it encourages critical thinking, which we don't typically do for our children. We throw them in schools that try to beat that out of people. Right. But like, this is like a critical thinking question.
Yeah. What is one thing I would change about society? I think one of the most detrimental things to society is codependency and people giving their power over to authority and not thinking about if it's right for them or if it fits in there, and needing other people to take on their safety and their happiness instead of finding that within. And so this tendency in society even if we look at like the movies we watch, like rom-coms are riddled with this. And it's like the having an external source of power rather than an internal one. So reclaiming self-agency, kicking codependency out of our systems in a way it largely is at the moment. I think that's what I would change.
Can you give me a specific example of that you've seen?
No, I don't want to give a specific example at the moment.
Okay.
I feel like there's a whole episode of that. But I mean, in general, people...
In general, we get that. But like, what does that mean? I think a lot of people like, okay, I get, but what do you mean? What do you mean by codependency? What's an example?
Well, I think a lot of times in relationships, you hear the message. We were just watching some show... We were just watching some show that came out, and it's like the people asking like, oh, like, where's your better half or where's your handsome half? Like, even that alone is a hint of like, why do I need someone else to be another half of me? Like the way I generally view relationships and the way that I think is healthier to view relationships is both people are whole, but you can overlap and you can come together and both people have needs, versus it being like, oh, I'm a half and you're a half and together we make a whole. Like, no, that's gross.
But it's so romantic when I say you complete me.
No, it's not. It's not. And it's like those things where it's just easy to say and we think it sounds good or we think it's like cute or cutesy, and then it permeates all of the shows we watch, and it's just not rooted in something that I think is healthy for maintaining sovereignty, like in who you are as an individual person. So does that give you a concrete example?
Sure. Okay. So we're going to shift now. That was questions that we ask our kids and tweens and teens. Now we're just going to go to some general questions to get to know you a little bit better again on your 31st birthday. Do you sleep with your closet doors open or closed, and why?
Oh, closet doors are closed. Like our doors. You
say that as if it's like a setup. Like no, mine are open. Like why not? Like, but you say it such as
No, it's definitive.
It's definitive. Why is that definitive for you?
Our door in our bedroom also leads to the bathroom, and you get up way more than me in the middle of the night. And so we had to have a discussion around if it's open.
I've had to adjust what the room looks like when we sleep.
Yeah, I like to sleep with it closed. I don't know why exactly. Sometimes I think like spaces are so big, and I like small spaces at times. Like I'm claustrophobic, so not tiny spaces, but I like smaller.
Your bedroom to be closed.
Yeah, enclosed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Worth exploring why. I wonder. I don't know the answer. I'm not leading anywhere. Okay, so closed.
Yes.
All right. Have you stolen a street sign before?
I have not stolen a street sign. Have you stolen a street sign?
Yes, I have stolen a street sign. I used to, well, first in high school, I used to go, we would shoot street signs with BB guns. Put holes in them. But then I also, in my last house, I had a street sign.
That you personally stole?
Well, it was on the ground. Like I didn't take it off. So I didn't take it off the post. Okay. It was on the ground. But it was a government official.
I have only stolen 2 things in my life. And I'm not sure. One of them, it wasn't even me. I was sure our audience wants to hear. I just ate it into bed. So the first one is in college. In college, I was with a group of people, and they were obsessed with Panda Express, and they stole one of the Panda Express decals off the door for like a certain type of chicken, and the panda was like dressed up like a king or something. Okay. And then they put it in their college dorm room on the mirror. Okay. And you ate it in.
I was there. I assisted.
Well.
Were you distracting?
I had nails, and the other guys.
So you pulled it off. You actually did
instigated it. Oh. They pulled the rest of it. They went out, and I was scared in the car, and then they were trying to do it, and they couldn't do it, and I was like, the longer we're here, this is not good. So then I started it, and then they pulled it off. Okay. And then the other thing is in Europe, the first time I went to Europe, I was under 21, so I couldn't drink here, or I didn't drink very often here. And I learned that I really liked Strongbow, which is a cider, which now it disgusts me. I think it tastes like Jolly Rancher. But before I really knew anything about drinking, I really liked Strongbow there. And there was this perfect Strongbow glass that I loved, and I took it.
You took it. Did you feel guilty?
No. I mean, I pay the establishment.
I was going to ask, how did you justify this in your mind to allow the guilt to go and say I paid them, I bought it,
I mean, probably the fact that I've never done it before. They were just the unlucky people where it was something I felt like I wanted. And I feel like I left a really good tip. Okay. Did you leave a bigger tip? Because you I don't know. Probably I don't know for sure, but it would seem like something I would do. So I can't remember for sure. I don't know.
All right. Impromptu follow-on question from this. Yeah. Were you a good girl?
Yes, I was a total rule follower. I had to break being a rule follower.
Stealing things is a big deal.
Oh, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Are you still a good girl?
Yes, in a lot of ways, but I have dismantled a lot of the stifling tendencies that come with that. Now I am not as a kid, if there was a sign that said, do not walk on the grass, my mom makes fun of me. She and my brother would take the shortcut and walk on the freaking grass. There is no way in hell I was walking on the grass. So my stubborn self, and all 3 of us are stubborn. So they would cut corners and they would walk the straight path, but they'd still be waiting for me because I wasn't going to do that. So I walked around.
Kind of like when I want to jaywalk and you don't want to, and we have a little battle.
Yes, but there are only specific instances when I will not jaywalk. I jaywalk all the time. But there are certain
it's not quite predictable.
Instances, it is predictable. It is. If in your mind. They have an arrow, if an arrow is going to come across, it is efficient for both cars and pedestrians. Mm-hmm. And so screwing up the flow of traffic to jaywalk when there is a specific arrow for turners feels massively inconsiderate, and I don't like it. Mm-hmm. So I still follow that rule, but it's my adapted version of the rule. So I definitely don't identify with being a rule follower in the same way that I did as a kid.
Other than jaywalking, what's the last law you broke?
I have no idea. Do you know what the last law I broke is?
Well, maybe you've sped in
oh yeah, I definitely.
Which again, people would probably put that in the category of jaywalking. Like, of course,
yeah.
whoever.
No, I don't think.
But
no, jail, like actual fears outside of someone else dying, someone that I love dying, going to jail. Like the concept of jail.
You will avoid that.
I can't. I value freedom so much that I just can't even. I can't. No.
Yeah. So loss of freedom.
Yes. Loss of freedom is probably the most like non-existential.
Is that a bigger fear than someone you know dying?
Probably. It
might be your biggest.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, we got to the answer.
We didn't have to wait till a future episode. Yeah. Okay. Would you rather be attacked by a big bear or a swarm of bees?
Well, I have stood in the middle of a swarm of bees before on accident. I was hiking Camelback Mountain and there's a swarm of bees that lives up there, and the whole hive decided to migrate down as I was hiking. And all of a sudden I'm walking and the guy I'm hiking with shouts, he's like, "Don't move." Or move slowly. I can't remember exactly what he said. And all of a sudden I hear this buzzing and there's just an entire hive of bees around me. And I just sort of I think I just slowly crouched down and then waited for them to pass. But attacked, I'm not sure I want to be stung 100 times, but I also don't want to be mauled by a bear.
What's the worst way of dying?
I don't know. I don't think about these things. I don't like this question. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
But I think I would vote swarm of bees if I had to choose in this. What would you choose?
Of those two?
Yeah.
Swarm of... I don't know. Which one do I think? Like if I'm going to die with the bees, but if I knew I'd die in one and not the other, I'd pick the one where I didn't die.
Well, yeah.
And go through the pain of it. I have a weird irrationality around a lack of fear of big beasts. Like,
yes, y'all, Geoff would kill me
if I could beat the bear. Like, I feel like I'd be like, I could protect myself and poke him in the eye and get away.
Geoff would kill me if I had to be dependent on him in nature.
I'm made for the concrete jungle. Like
we were on a hike in Costa Rica, and the tour guide specifically was talking about these poison berries and not to touch them. And then Geoff goes to pick them up.
No, he didn't say don't touch them. He said, if you eat these, you're going to die.
I think there was a little bit more elaboration.
There's a logical conclusion of then don't touch them. I get it. But
no, you can't even breathe these berries in. But
he did not say don't touch them. And so I wanted to touch them.
He had said, though, you can't be in that air.
All right, I'm going to die in the wilderness. We know this. Okay. But I still think I could take a mountain lion. I'll take him. He doesn't scare me.
Okay.
And I don't want to die by drowning. That's the worst.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Do people just have this on their tongue, knowing what their biggest pet peeve is? I don't know.
I used to be able to answer this question. I used to have an answer for this, and now I'm struggling to recall it.
Oh, I do have one pet peeve. It's slow walkers. I cannot stand slow walkers. I'm a fast walker.
And slow drivers?
Slow turners. If you want to drive in the right lane and there are more lanes available, great. You do you. That's why there are 3 different lanes.
What about to get the 2 slow drivers taking both lanes?
Well, yeah, that's a nuanced situation. But my pet peeve specifically is slow walkers and slow turners because I'm at your mercy.
You do get fired up. It's kind of hilarious and funny how you'll yell at people. You become not you. You're a nice, kind
in
person.
The car, not in the... I don't yell at people on the street. That is bullshit. But you go around them with such a
you go really fast. You leave me in the dust and you're just like...
Well, because I'm not gonna... There is a thing around if you can sense someone I am never the person who stays behind you riding your ass. The people in cars who just want to try to assert themselves and so they get right up on you. that is rude. I don't like it. I don't even use the word rude very often. But that I don't like. I'm never that person. Like, I will never drive up behind someone to try and get them to move over. Like, if they're going to go slow and there's only one lane, like, I chill. So there is something
you don't chill. You're yelling at them.
No, that's not entirely true. We don't even drive that much. So this is regardless.
Okay.
I'm trying to finish the story here. Are you going to let me? Okay. So in walking though, there is something like, I don't like feeling like someone is right behind me who is needing something different than I am. And I can tell that like the energies, you can just tell if there's someone behind you who wants to get around, but you're not moving. And so if someone's doing that to me, like I generally try to like move aside, but if someone isn't paying attention to that, I don't want them to feel like someone is like harboring right behind them. So yeah, I do speed up and go around them.
Yeah.
Depending on my mood, I might be frustrated.
And there's something like when we were at Coachella, we were in that walking structure and there's tons of people moving both directions and there's barely enough room for that. And then there was those 3 people that just decided to stop in the middle and talk and block all the traffic and were just clueless about it. Like there's something like hello, like it's all like a cluelessness about people around you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever dance even if there's no music playing?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What do you dance to? Music in your head?
Yeah, music in my head.
Yeah.
Do you?
No. I need like...
Do you want to dance right now?
Sure. We've talked about dancing more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've talked about dancing and singing more.
Mm-hmm. This is why we do karaoke in our house alone.
We do. It's glorious. She is amazing. She has a professional level voice, and I am awful. And she puts up with me and lets me do it and doesn't make me feel bad.
And we always end with Grease songs.
Yeah.
Like basically,
I can do those pretty good.
Basically the entire Grease soundtrack, which...
The best karaoke song.
If you've heard me telling stories on the internet for more than 6 months, you have probably heard that Grease was the first CD that I was ever allowed to own, which has insanely dirty lyrics, and I was only allowed to listen to Christian music. But for some reason, my dad, we were in Barnes & Noble, I wanted the Hanson CD. The lyrics are mbop. He wouldn't let me have that, but he let me buy the Grease soundtrack. And now as an adult, when I listen to the lyrics, he clearly lost his mind in that moment, but whatever.
Google Grease Lightning lyrics and take a look.
They are so raunchy.
If you haven't remember, and then imagine the very restricted religious little girl that couldn't hear mbop listening to those lyrics. We'll pause while you go do that now. Yes. Okay. All right.
That's the time.
What's your least favorite movie? This is a softball.
Least favorite movie? Oh my God. A few weeks ago, okay, so Geoff and I's birthday are a month apart, and Geoff decided he was going to exercise birthday privilege and force his oldest son and I to watch The Room.
Which is world renowned and known as the worst movie of all time.
And a complete waste of time.
I disagree. I think they should be thanking me for...
Culture.
It is so bad that it's good.
No. You're not going to convince me otherwise.
The pictures, I have pictures of both of them. Like, they didn't even know I was taking these pictures, and it was at the same time. They both had hoodies on for whatever reason, and they're sitting there, and they literally are like, they have their hoodies over their head, and they're just down, and they're just like, they just were like, it was so...
Yeah, because also, like, even if something's happening in a show and someone's just going through something so awkward and cringeworthy, you know, I use my hair as a veil. Like, experiencing other people's pain like that, I cover my face routinely.
If you haven't seen The Room,
don't watch it.
The Room.
Don't watch it. It's terrible.
It's great. Okay. What movies could you watch over and over again in contrast and still love? Movie or movies?
What movie of it? I mean, I still watch Disney movies. I feel like those I watch.
What movie have you watched the most the most times?
Well, I don't know. Growing up, like, we didn't always have cable. And then when we did, like, I feel like my brother always had Stars on because a movie was always playing, but I feel like they played the same 5 movies over and over, but I can't remember.
But which one have you chosen to watch?
It's probably a rom-com. Like, I love Crazy Stupid Love. I've watched that a bunch of times. Oh, The Greatest Showman. I've watched so many times. I love The Greatest Showman. Mm-hmm. I've probably watched that the most. Not more than Bryce, though. Like, what was the number? I think he watched it like
20 times in a day or something.
Not in a day. I think like there's not enough hours. I think like in the first week it came out, which wasn't an exaggeration when he told us. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. We're getting towards the end. A few more questions.
Okay.
Would you ever strip or pose nude in a magazine?
Yes.
That was no hesitation.
I would. I've thought about this before.
If Playboy had nude pictures anymore, and they came calling, you'd be like, "Yep."
There are different generations of Playboy, so I think it would depend. Playboy specifically, there are different like generations and evolutions of it, and HBO did a documentary on like Hugh Hefner and Playboy. It was like a docuseries, though. I don't know what they call it when it's like half dramatized, where it's not like the real people.
Docudrama.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. And it's really, really good. And I liked it. And it sparked a lot of thought for me at the time. So I've thought about this before. And yes, I would. And I think at some point I just want to put a burlesque number together and do it for fun.
So what are the chances that in your next 31 years you're going to do a burlesque or a nude photo shoot or a striptease?
Like in public?
Yeah.
Or in print?
In print or public. If it's a burlesque or a striptease, like it would be in public.
I mean, I would probably it's more likely that I would do like a burlesque show. It's an experience, like it's not in print forever. It's more likely that I would do that than print, but I wouldn't be opposed. But again, it's not, the context around it would matter deeply to me. It's not just like nudeness for the sake of it. Like, yeah, the context matters.
Okay. What is your usual bedtime?
10:30, 10:45.
Why?
Because I love sleep. Like in grad school, I got no sleep and I recognized how stressful that was. And then I started getting sleep and it was like life-changing. Mm-hmm. So much better.
I love this. I had this conversation with Erin yesterday, who is our friend that is also turning 31. And I was communicating to him my appreciation for the fact that I'm the person that is multiple decades younger than me that I'm dating values sleep. Because there's a world where like I'm older, I need more sleep. I value it too. And if we were disconnected on that, if you were like one of these people that wanted to go clubbing and stay up till 3 every morning, like we'd have some disconnect on that, serious disconnect. And we don't. We both value it at an equal level.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Sleep is great.
Okay. And the last question, this is the 31st question. Actually, it's not, but that would have been kind of neat if we had 31 questions. We'll
Okay.
Okay. When you were a kid, what did you dress up for as Halloween? Dress up as for Halloween.
I wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween.
What?
You already knew this. I feel like this is a trick question. But no, I wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween. Now, it wasn't all bad. My mom would she'd ask what our favorite candy was that year, and she would get us some of that. So we got some of the perks, but no, I think I only dressed up as one thing for one Halloween. And I think I was like, I don't know if I was a butterfly and it was like, we went and we handed out candy to senior citizens at like a senior citizen home. So it wasn't even dressing up for us to go around.
You weren't trick-or-treating. So you never trick-or-treated?
No.
When, even later as a teen or a young adult, like you never experienced that?
No.
When did you first dress up for Halloween?
I think there was like one thing. I think, well, one year, I don't know. I don't think it was till my mid-20s that I actually like went to a Halloween party and like put effort into dressing up. There's this really fun place in Austin called Lucy's in Disguise, which it's a costume shop and you can go and you can rent costumes, but they have very elaborate ones. And so the guy I was dating at the time had a penny farthing, which is a bike with the huge wheel in the front and then small wheel in the back. Mm. Yeah, that's how it goes. And so he went as a mime and like rode his penny farthing to the party. And I went as like a circus ringleader and had this like awesome corset and did my hair that kind of looks like a top hat. And then one of our friends went and was a clown or a mime as well. That was fun.
Okay. If you were to have a kid, would you have your kid dress up for Halloween?
I still have mixed feelings on Halloween. I like dressing up and I like encouraging that. My mom didn't like it because of like religious things and whatnot. I don't like the holiday in terms of what it promotes around candy. And I also don't want to like, it's also not great to like hand out apples or something of the sort either. So it's not my favorite holiday in terms of how kids experience it. If there was a Halloween dress up party where it's like outside of the trick or treating, I like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I have mixed thoughts still.
Yeah.
On trick or treating.
Yeah. Okay. Bonus question. Last one.
Yes.
What did I not ask you that you want us to know about you?
Oh my goodness. For me doing so many of these episodes on the spot, sometimes these questions are so hard for me on the spot. I think one thing that's I'm like staring off at our art. So the thing that's coming to mind is like we have come to agree on what type of art is in our house, but in general, like I love color. Like I love color across the board. I don't always love color in design. So like I use a lot of black and white, like when I'm designing stuff, but I love like abstract, just pops of color everywhere. And I would love to paint like that more than I do. I don't put a lot of effort into it. So we've agreed on a very specific artist that we have who has a lot of color, but the painting that's normally behind me for these episodes, like I just love because I love color and I love having reminders of color. And I think it's a fun way to put your soul on canvas.
As we wear black and gray.
Yeah. I mean, I love neutrals, but these are colors. These are colors too. And I like the use of neutrals in a lot of ways, but I also just love like what color can do. Yeah.
Great. Okay. That's it. Back to you in the studio.
Okay. Well, like I said at the beginning, this is the 31st episode. And so I wanted to do something fun and different ahead of my 31st birthday. I like the question about aging a lot. And, yeah, I think we take ourselves too seriously at times. And I think it's fun to sit down and explore conversation in different ways, which is how this show began in the first place. So if you have been following along, that is the word I was looking for one episode or all 31, thank you so much for being here and being part of this project with me. If you want more insights, sign up for The Peel. It's my weekly newsletter with perspectives so fresh, you might just change your life. And you can sign up at alyssapatmos.com/The Peel. Thank you, and I will catch you next week.
You've just finished listening to another episode of Make It Mentionable with me, your host, Alyssa Patmos. If you're looking for more in between episodes, then sign up for The Peel. It's my free newsletter that gives tips for how to navigate whatever life dishes. And it's also the place where I share the juiciest of stories. To check it out, head on over to alyssapatmos.com/The Peel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.